Hey gang, it's Chaya bin Shabbat. I am about to have you join me as a fly on the wall in a private coaching session as part of our March Mentoring Mondays. So every Monday in the month of March, I picked a winner of our aspiring superhumans to come and join me for a one-on-one free coaching session. So today's winner, aspiring superhuman Miriam Yager, you are going to love her. I'm actually just getting to meet her for the very first time. I'm really excited about this conversation and I can't wait for you to join us. Now remember, at the end, if you find anything helpful in this coaching session, please comment, like, and share, because together we're going to wage war on the mediocrity around us. Love you guys. Let's jump in. All right. Let's get started. Miriam, it's so nice to meet you. This is actually the first time that we're meeting face to face. I guess as face to face as almost anybody gets these days. So it's a very good thing that we have the chance to connect anywhere and everywhere around the world. And you are in Houston, Texas. Is that right?
Yes, I just moved a couple months ago.
Where were you before that?
I was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally? I do not hear a Florida accent.
No, I'm from New York.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. So since this is my first time to have the privilege of working with you in person, I'm just going to take a quick second and give a summary of your bio that you shared with me. Okay, so that way everybody can get to know you at the same time. So now, do you pronounce your last name Yager?
Yes.
Okay, so Miriam Yager, she's 33, married with 3 kids. She's a life coach. She was in marketing for 10 years prior. She says, this is very cool. She says, in my first marketing position, I helped the company generate $4 million, increasing their sales by 100%. Now, I asked her what was interesting about herself, and she said, actually, Miriam, give me 1 second. I'm going to flip this view. I don't like it that I don't see you as big as I want to see you. So hang on. I'm going to move you around a second so I can see you a little bit better.
All right.
Ah, there you are. Okay. So Miriam, I asked her what was interesting about herself, and she said she loves singing, coaching, motivating, inspiring, and speaking. She says that in her life coaching business, all of her life lessons come from her own personal journey, and she became a coach out of a deep desire to help others. She also needed to find a career that was more fitting for her family because the 9-to-5 was killing everybody, which I could totally relate to that. And then she has a really powerful piece of her story that she shared with me. She said, I had a big miracle that brought me back to realizing that God actually deeply loves me. I had a miscarriage before my 3rd and lost a twin in her pregnancy. I thought I had miscarried twice in a row and was devastated. When I found out I was still pregnant, I knew for the first time that God really loves me and that everything he did was for my best. I absolutely love that. And having miscarried twice myself, I can tell you that even though when you miscarry and you all of a sudden are like thrust into this world of like miscarried moms, it doesn't matter how many zillions of moms are out there that have miscarried. It doesn't make your pain any more bearable, you know, when you're going through it yourself. So I can relate to you on that 1,000,000%. Now, I hope everybody's sitting down as you're hearing this, because I'm going to share with you Miriam's goals, and then I'm going to shut up and let Miriam talk for a couple of minutes, okay? So Miriam says, I asked what her top 3 goals were. And she says, number 1, to make $1 million by January 2021. Number 2, to speak on a TED stage by January 2021. And number 3, to inspire at least 20,000 people by January 2021. Now, I absolutely love these goals. And then she also shared with me on the flip side what she felt were her hurdles into making these things happen. So she said her biggest hurdle is to reaching a large audience and to receive paying clients, even though she is in the middle of making a coaching program right now, and she's already just put out a coaching program. Did I get all that right, Miriam?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to elaborate on with everything we just shared?
Sure. I have this huge desire to really make a big difference in the world. I feel like there aren't enough people out there making a difference. There's so much like that needs to be shared, that people like Just so many people are so stuck in so many areas of their life, in their relationships, in their family life, in their own personal selves, in their own inner, inner world. And I just feel like there needs to be more women specifically out there making a difference and really showing people, because I think that as women, we have something very unique and very special. And men are equally amazing and wonderful, but we women haven't had our time per se, for a long, long time. And we're only just coming out into the forefront. And I feel like there just needs to be more of us making a really big impact in people's lives. And I feel like we can help so many people. And that's, it's just a really big desire of mine. And I feel like, there's many other women out there like me, and we all need whatever it takes to get us over that, to
Absolutely.
be able to make that difference.
Absolutely. Like the old saying goes, rising waters lift all boats.
Yeah.
So we're going to band together and make it happen for sure. Okay. Now we're going to aim for a 20-minute coaching session, which means I'm going to talk fast. Can you listen fast?
Yes.
And you're going to talk fast too, because it's going to be a back and forth dialogue. Okay. So, you've heard of speed dating. So this is going to be like a speed dating conversation, but I feel like we're going to make a lot of things happen. We're going to make some magic happen in these 20 minutes. Okay. So I want to go back and actually start with your goals. That's where I'd like to start, these top 3 goals. Now, I am such a big fan of women with vision, women who have big dreams and big goals and big vision, irrelevant of what their past story says. And that's really what excites me about your goals here. But I also want to speak very specifically and very practically in the hopes that as a result of this conversation, you're going to feel like you have some tangible, functional things that you can sink your teeth into as you start to move forward from here. Okay? So a normal person, and we're going to call them normal because we dreamers and visionaries are anything but normal. Okay, normal is just such a gross word to me. So normal in the box people, mediocre status quo people would look at these goals and think you have absolutely lost your love and mind. Okay, that's why I love them. I used to have a mentor that said, if people do not laugh at your goals, then they're not big enough. Okay, so this is excellent. And I also am a very, very big believer that reality is what you make it. So whether or not these goals are realistic is totally and completely up to you. If they are realistic to you, if it's like, of course I can do this, then that actually is putting out a vibrational frequency around you into your world that is going to bring this level of reality to you. Okay, so you are totally tracking with that, but we've got to, even though that's the case, we still have to deal with that level of reality. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, if we're looking within nature, of course, anybody could say, holy schmoly, guacamole, how are you going to make these things happen in 10 months? Okay, make $1 million, speak on a TED stage, and inspire at least 20,000 people. Well, if you're going to speak on a TED stage, that's going to take care of number 2. Okay, so you really have got 2 goals: make $1 million and get on a TED Talk, right? Okay. So the thing is that if we are looking within nature, it could take a lot of time to make those things happen, because when you're moving in a linear world, it's painstakingly slow. Okay, so what we have to realize is that what we're talking about here is actually working above nature and working beyond nature. So what I am going to, let me have this conversation with you actually as if these were my goals. Okay, if this was me and I was sitting here and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to make happen in the next 10 months, how would I go about it? That's what I'll share with you in this conversation. Okay, so I would look at mapping out a plan above nature, and then I would also look at working toward that plan within nature. Okay, and why would I do both? Because the key to everything, the key to manifesting anything worth having in life is really about preparing in advance of that shift that you want to happen. and preparing your, not just your mindset, but your emotional energy and your vibrational state and your whole frequency as if that thing has already happened. So you're literally creating that world in advance. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are we going to do that? Well, we've actually, my husband and I have been studying from a guy, a quantum physicist that has been making this happen for the last almost 20 years, really studying this new science of quantum physics. And what I love about him is basically he's like taking what a lot of people would consider mysticism or new age weirdness or whatever, and actually just breaking it down to science. And science is, it is, you know, it's like 2 + 2 = 4. And so when he's showing that there have been so much advancements in science in the last 20 or 30 years, that it makes the stuff that, you know, you can call it the law of attraction, you can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want, hocus pocus, but it doesn't change the fact that it's actually a law of nature. Okay. Now, I'll tell you that my husband was very resistant to it when he first started hearing it, because he's a very practical person. Okay. And so the more I started showing it to him and sharing it with him, and it was like chipping away, chip, you know, at his criticism and his skepticism, we are both such big students of this work now. And we've been able to see shifts. I've been a student of the law of attraction and, you know, vision boards and affirmation statements and things like this for 15 years, longer now. But this, because it introduced actual science into the subject, if you will, it upgraded my reality. Okay, so I am very, very happy to suggest him to you, and then you're welcome to check it out and see what you think about it. He's got books, he's got online courses, he's got all those things that you're basically going to have like 2 parallel tracks going. One is going to be, you're going to be working on your practical plan within nature. The other one is you're going to be working above nature to make sure that your vibrational frequency, this like honing mechanism that you're putting out the top of your head, is actually beep, beep, like putting out the right signal to make all these other things come to fruition. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will send you his information offline. And for those of you that are watching this on the replay, you can just put a message in the comments and I will be very happy to share his information with everyone else as well. Okie doke? Now, we're gonna come back to that above nature stuff in a second, Miriam, kind of as our grand finale, but I wanna move over to the practical side as well. Okay, so Miriam asked 4 specific questions. She said, number 1, how can I make sure that my language speaks to my audience? Number 2, how do I grow a large audience? Number 3, how do I generate money? And number 4, how to land speaking engagements. And these are all fantastic questions. And I'm sure these are questions that a number of our friends in our Digging Deeper tribe will have as well. So let's jump in just very quickly to number 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spit a lot of things at you so I can make sure and give you what you're looking for. And then I'm going to let you ask me questions at the end. Fair enough?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So how to make sure that my language speaks to my audience? Well, the first thing I would say is ask them. Okay. Now, how do we do that? How do we ask our audience? Well, there's another hidden piece in that, which is, who is my audience? Right? So of course we have to get really, really good at dialing in who is it that I'm speaking to? You know, like, what is my niche? Who is my avatar? I mean, these are all very, very popular and basic questions, of course, in the world of online marketing. You have to know who it is that you're speaking to. Now, let me ask you, you mentioned in the beginning that you're a life coach. Are you doing life coaching or are you doing parenting coaching? What exactly is your area of focus?
So I would like to focus on family life, but I think that my focus is really going to be on helping people uplift their marriage.
Okay.
So people who are my my audience, who I really would like to speak to are high achieving women
Okay.
who are just, for whatever reason, like they've got everything going for them professionally, but their personal life, their family life is where it's challenging. So specifically their relationship with their husband. And once they heal that, their relationship with their children becomes more enjoyable, and the whole family thrives.
Great. Excellent. Okay. Have you gone through the work of really identifying that niche and like there's a specific worksheet actually that a friend of mine who does work in online marketing, and he has a worksheet that basically is creating your avatar, like identifying your ideal person. And I know there's lots of them out there. Have you gone through that process yourself?
I've done a lot of it like mentally, like I know exactly who I'm targeting. I just don't know the language to use. Like, I would identify as a high achiever,
Uh-huh.
but when I put out that sort of language, nobody seemed to resonate. So I'm not quite sure how to, like, I'm not sure the exact wording.
I can promise you that high achieving women call themselves high achieving women. So we most definitely just have to find the right crowd. Okay.
Right.
So, there is immense, immeasurable, like exponential power in taking it from your head to a piece of paper.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, in fact, there's a lot of research that shows that people that write down their goals are actually 90% more likely to achieve them simply by writing them down. Even if they write them on the paper and never look at it again. Literally. It's like, okay, those people, they write things down, they can never find their notes. That actually makes a 90% difference in goal achievement. Okay? So right now, I would get it out of the landmine of your head and get it onto a piece of paper. That's number one. Secondly, as you start to do that, you can have first draft, second draft, third draft, and you can really start to refine that vernacular, the vocabulary, the language, etc. Then the next thing that I would do is I would make a list of as many people that you know or know of in your life that you believe are your target market.
Okay.
They would be like your dream clients.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I would start to go to them. And go to them in a way of, there's a saying in fundraising that if you ask for money, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get money. Okay. So we're going to take that same concept and apply it here. That you're going to go to each of these women and you're not going to say, hey, will you be my client? So lame. Okay. But what you can say is, I am working on building this business. This is my target market. This is what I'm doing. And I really see you as the epitome of the type of client I would love to work with. Okay, women love to be flattered. We all know that. Okay, so if you say something like that to them, you're actually going to evoke empathy. You're going to evoke compassion. They're going to start cheering for you. They're going to start believing in you. And then if I were you, I would give them some sort of samples of your work, or give them samples of your vocabulary or your objectives or your missions or your vision of what you're wanting to do. Give them like an outline of some sample classes and say, I would love your feedback. Okay. And then ask them, like, put it with a survey, or say, can I treat you to a cup of coffee? And, give them time to look it over, and then say, can I get together with you for a cup of coffee afterward? And say, I would really value your professional feedback. And this is something that I have done, I don't know, no joke, a few thousand times on different projects. And it always, always works. I am not kidding you, few thousand times. I have never had one woman say to me, I am not willing to help you.
Right.
Okay. Now, they have said many times, yes, 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 and then they're too busy to find the time. And so I have to be pleasantly persistent and rounding back and being very genuine, not becoming that annoying stalking person on the phone, but finding a way to stay in their space. Now, that's not often. That's not the norm. But I'm saying that's the worst case scenario of what I have dealt with. Okay. So I definitely recommend that you do that. In fact, there's another story that I remember of a dentist. He was opening a dental clinic. He was just finishing dental school. He was opening a dental clinic. I forget which part of the country he was in. And he realized he knew where he wanted to open the clinic. So he got out on foot with a pen and a piece of paper and started door knocking on, this is a dentist, like a professional human, okay? Not a shoe salesman. going door to door to door to door at within the radius of where he wanted to put his clinic, and said, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm just finishing dental school. I'm looking at opening a clinic right here at the corner. What are the things that you're looking for in a dentist? What would make you most love a dentist? Da, da, da. And then who does that? Guess what? From the day he opened his door, he has been booked solid ever since.
Wow.
Okay. So these are the types of things that are going to help you find your audience and get started. And then when you're meeting with these people, what you're asking them is, who do you know who could benefit from this type of work? Who do you know that is a superwoman on steroids, that is a high achiever, whatever, and she just needs a little bit of relief. She needs a little bit of boost. She needs something to help her up her game in that area, or whatever vocabulary you're going to use there. But who do you know that would benefit from this type of work? Okay. Now, how to grow a large audience, I would actually say a continuation of that same thing, which is, as you know, word of mouth is very, very powerful. On the internet today, of course, it's like word of mouth is like a drop in the bucket. Okay. But I'm going to skip down to the fourth one just for a second, because they're kind of connected, which is how to land speaking engagements. And my question for you here is, do you have samples of your work?
Yeah, I put out a few webinars.
Okay.
They're all like 45 minutes long.
Okay. Do you have them in a way that you can share them with other people?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what I would recommend that you do is start passing those out.
Okay.
Either make it not a CD, put it like a link, like on a landing page, or however you can share it to them. Okay. I would also give it back to those same women, those same, like if you can come up with 30, 40 women. Okay. And what you say is, my goal is to get in front of, to get the opinion of 100 professional women in the next 90 days. And then when you're meeting with each one of them, say, who do you know that is a high achiever, that is looking to create an amazing family life? And then say, do you think they would be willing to listen to this in exchange for whatever? Like you're giving them a small gift, like again, a cup of coffee, getting together, or, whatever the case would be, just to get their opinion and get their feedback. And again, that network of going from high achiever to high achiever to high achiever, that network is very, very strong. Okay. You can also look at other networking opportunities, locally. I find them completely exhausting. Okay. Like to go to the BNI events and the, whatever the public speaking things are and the community things, I can't be bothered with it. Like they're so exhausting to go and then have to play that dance of the chit chat and the warm chattering and the knowing everyone. Like I can't do it. Okay. Now it is one way to go, but in my opinion, it's a very slow process of moving. What I do like to do is I like to troll those events and go in and go out, get what I want, and then meet the few quick people that I want. Maybe it's at a, like they have a lot of, what do you call them? Like trade shows, like at the, especially in Houston, I know they have like a big, fall trade show or home and garden trade show where you've got 9 million women walking around. Okay. And this has actually happened to me a number of times. People will come up to me at those events and just say, you look like da-da-da, like someone who, you look a high achiever, or you look like someone who has your act together. You look like someone who's very professional. You look like someone da-da-da, and I'm working on a survey to get the feedback of 100 sharp professional women in the next 90 days. Would you be willing to give me your opinion? I'm a family and parenting coach, and I would love to get your opinion because I know I would love to work with people just like you. Okay. You can literally go into one of those conventions and within 2 hours, you can have 50 cards.
Wow.
People that you didn't know from Adam.
Right.
Okay. Now you got to have a little bit of guts to do that, but you also got to have a little bit of guts to accomplish these goals. You're not going to accomplish these goals sitting in your closet, sucking your thumb. Yeah. Right?
I have lots of guts.
Yes. Okay, good. Now, so that's your sample reel or whatever. Now, as far as the landing the speaking engagements, the other thing you have to think about is go back and look at your webinars.
Okay.
If you were a stranger, would you hire you based on those webinars?
I would.
Okay, amazing. So make sure that you've got the right energy, you've got the right delivery, you're on point, you're fun, you're engaging, you're funny, whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay. Yeah. Then if you don't see exactly what you want, do another one. Do 12, right. Do 25 until you get a good one, and then use that as your sample. Okay. Now the thing with speaking engagements, it's really, and also with generating money, is that it's all about supply and demand, right? It's that intersection of where supply meets demand. So for the first round, like, tell yourself, I don't know, make an arrangement with yourself, something that you feel confident about, that for 30 days, for 45 days, whatever arrangement it is, I am going to work solely on getting my name out there, raising awareness, making sure that I have a slam-in presentation, a slam-in class, or whatever. And then after that point in time, I'm going to grandfather all these people in. And then after that, I'm going to be charging. Okay? Now, what you can say is, when you meet with these people, you can say, by the way, because you have been so kind in giving me your feedback, I would also love to repay the gift with a free session, or right. with whatever. Right. Okay. And then you could say to them, and because you've been so kind, I would also love to give your 5 friends 50% off of their first session, or whatever. I mean, make it crazy steep, make it impossible for them to say no. Okay. Because you got to spend money to make money, and your right. time is money. Right? Yeah. So that is a way of you investing. And what we're talking about here is guerrilla marketing tactics, because you had mentioned to me offline before we got started that you had put a lot of money into online, like, professional coaching programs. You didn't see the results that you were looking for. You were out of cash to continue investing. So everything I'm talking about here doesn't cost you a penny other than your hustle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yes, you could go buy those programs. Yes, you could hire them to do la la la, but you did all that and you're still here, right? So what I am saying are things that anyone can do. Okay. If you believe in what you have to offer, and you believe in yourself, and you're willing to put in, that hustle on the front end, all of these things are achievable. Do you agree so far?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, the last thing, as far as this generating the money, you have to be confident in what your fees are. Okay. Now, you can have different types of fees. You can have online marketing fees. You can have online program, like ready-made for you class fees. And then you can also have one-on-one coaching fees, like different programs when you're working at different, one-on-one with people. Uh-oh, Miriam, did I lose you? Did I lose Miriam? Uh-oh. Okay, everybody, give us just a quick second. We're going to check on things. Okay, so we're back with Miriam. What's the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was that, this is something anyone can do.
Okay, now, we're talking also about how to generate money. You have to be clear on what your fees are. That's another piece.
Okay.
Now, you can have different tiers of fees, for sure. You can have one fees that's for, like, one-way programs. In other words, they're just programs online. They're ready-made for you programs. They're online coaching programs where your, personal involvement isn't necessary. And of course, those are at one tier. And then you can have another set of fees for if you want to do one-on-one coaching, if you want to do in-person coaching, private coaching, whatever the case may be, even if it's online, even if it's like this, I'm sure you're not limiting yourself to only, Houston clients. So my thought around that is, start anyway with the locals, because that's things that you can do. You can get out there and you can immediately affect and generate a network based on the examples we just talked about. Okay. The moment that you start to feel yourself being too tight on your time, it's time to raise your prices. Okay. Every time you run out, you hit that intersection of time is money, like, I got It's too much for me. I don't have enough time to get through everybody. Raise your prices. And when you raise your prices, it does two things. First of all, it's making sure that you're going to be where you are with the quality of person that you want to work with. And not that, the amount that they can pay determines the quality of person they are, but you also have very specific goals of the high achieving type of women that you want to work with, right? Now, what's going to happen is the more clients you develop, the more fine-tuned your message is going to be, the better you're going to become, which means your demand can go up and you can charge more. Okay. You also can make sure that you have something for that entry level client with your online programs.
Right.
So you can have pricing tiers that are for everyone. So the beginning of your funnel can be, those one-way programs that people are buying online, nothing, no personal interaction from you. Then there could be a mid-tier program where they're getting the information one-on-one, but maybe you set up a group coaching where once a week you get onto a group Q&A call or something with them and they get a little bit of access. You set up a Facebook group or a WhatsApp chat and they can, dialogue with each other and support each other. And then you have an upper tier where you're doing one-on-one coaching with them at whatever price you decide is right at that time.
Right.
Okay. But if you're going to work backward into your financial goals by starting with what we said, like going out and meeting the people, getting that list of 30 women, giving yourself whatever timeline you say and say, okay, because you're willing to help me with this, you gave me a survey, you filled out, you gave whatever you're saying to them. I would love to show my appreciation by giving you a free coaching session. Okay. And then to them, to their people. And then of course you have your pricing fees for whatever they want to do afterward. And then to their circle, you're going to say, I would love to meet women that are just like you. And as an appreciation, as you're helping me to expand and get feedback, again, this is before you're even saying grow my business. This is saying I want to get feedback. I am working to build my business locally. And I want to learn what is important to local women.
Right.
Okay? So I want to learn what is important to women in Houston. It's the same thing that is important to women in Florida and is important to women in New York, but it makes it feel relatable. It makes it feel special. It makes it feel different, right? And it just gives you a thread of something to say in a common denominator. And then as an appreciation to you for helping me to get the feedback of local Houston women, anyone that I meet through you, I would love to give them either one free session or 50% off, whatever you're going to work out there. Okay. And then you start to tiptoe it from there. And this is where you're going to watch your intersection of supply and demand. As your presentations get better, as you get better, as you have more experience, and you're running out of time, then you can start to raise those prices. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then last but not least, with the how to grow the large audience and with the speaking engagements, the other thing that I would start to do is make a list of your dream speaking engagements. Okay. Not just TED Talks. That's an amazing one, but look even at like mid-tier. Like what would I want to do? What offer would I say yes to? Okay. And not just because I'm desperate and will say yes to anything, but what would I love to say yes to?
Right.
Okay. And make a list of 25 events that happen on an annual basis. Start in Houston. Start sending out those sample videos to whoever's the chair of those, or go onto their website and look at who's on their committees. Start sending out your samples to those people. Okay. Now, those are all practical things that you can do. And if you're sending samples to 25, 30 events and you're not getting any responses back, either one of two things happen. Either you're not the right fit for their crowd, or your content isn't good enough.
Right.
Okay. And ask them for feedback, because even feedback like that is helpful, because even though it's painful to hear, we can get better.
Right.
Okay. So that would be my recommendation on how to start landing the speaking engagements, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to be a public speaker. I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing? Oh, well, I guess I'm waiting to be discovered. Well, how are you going to be discovered if you're sitting at home? Okay. Then my grand finale would be that everything we're talking about for the last 10, 15 minutes was within nature, right? Practical application steps to go out there and bring your A game and show the world what Miriam Yager is made of, right? Now, but the thing to remember is while you're doing that, your mindset is everything. your mindset, your headspace, your energy, your emotions, your vibrational state is everything. And you have to keep going. You have to be willing to keep going all the way till January 2021, as if these things have already happened. I don't care if it's November 15th, December 1st. It hasn't happened yet. You keep going, it's great. It's great. We've got all the time in the world. I'm going to keep doing my thing, and I know that God's going to show up when it's time. Now, do you, and there's a fantastic example of this. Some of our viewers might not be familiar with the Jim Carrey story. So, you know, Jim Carrey is a famous comedian and actor in Hollywood, and he went to Hollywood like in the late 80s as a young guy, totally broke, had only his car, his clothes were in his car. He literally was like on the street except for his car. And he would go up to Mulholland Drive every single night, and he would look down over Hollywood. And he had written out a check to himself that said, for acting services rendered and $10 million. And he dated it January 1st, 1995. This was in the 80s, okay? So late 80s maybe. So he, every single night, would go up the hill, Mulholland Drive, look over Hollywood, get out of his check, look at his check. He kept it in his wallet. He would get out every single night, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Nothing was changing, nothing was changing, nothing was changing. Finally, in 1994, leading up to 1994, a series of movies had come out, including Dumb and Dumber and two others, I think. And in December, maybe it was Dumb and Dumber, actually. I forget exactly which movie it was, but the third movie he signed in December, the end of December 1994, for exactly $10 million. Like a matter of 2 weeks prior to the date on his check that he was showing himself every single night. Okay, so the question you ask yourself is, well, which one made it come true? The fact that he hustled like a maniac all that time in Hollywood and never quit, or the fact that he never lowered the bar on his mindset and on his expectation? Doesn't mean you don't have a bad day every now and then, but you get yourself up and you get back in the game and you're mentally rehearsing who you want to be. And I don't need to tell you that because I know that you're familiar with that concept, being, you know, from a life coaching background, but it's always encouraging to hear how other people have made it really, really big in this exact same type of a concept that you're talking about. So, how was it for our speed dating?
It's been awesome.
Okay, do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
Yeah, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
So I'm in need of cash right now. I put out a mini program that is basically going to start Friday. And I'm putting out a business program. A local friend of mine actually asked me to do for her.
Okay.
And I would like to generate cash with both of them. My mindset's good. I'm, thanking God in advance, doing all that stuff. But how do I guess practically, other than me, consistently advertising and all that, I guess how do I make it happen that people join? Because I'm offering like way beyond what I technically should be for the price, and like insane value. So I guess my question is, how do I fill my program?
How do you fill it, or how do you make money off of it?
How do I get people? Well, I'm charging for it. So how do I get people to join?
Okay. Are you happy with what you're charging for it? I mean, it's already done. It's a done deal, the price?
It's a done deal.
Okay. And do you have a goal of the number of people? Like, is there a cap or a limit, or?
I want to have at least 5.
Okay.
I have 2 people who've asked me questions about it, but they haven't joined yet.
Okay. How are you advertising it?
So I'm advertising on all my Facebook. Like, I've got a group, I've got a page, I have a personal page. I'm advertising on Instagram, my email account, my email list, as well as local WhatsApps.
Okay, how many people are on all of those things?
At least 1,500, 2,000 at least.
Okay, how many of them are actually, do you think, looking at the information?
It's hard to know.
Okay, so then, what you're doing right now is very common, but it's also very commonly unsuccessful, unfortunately. Okay.
Okay.
It's called spray and pray, right?
Okay.
Where we spray the information out there and we pray someone bites. We pray that, we catch someone.
Okay.
So you want to take more of a guerrilla approach of, even though it's easier to put something out on a big group, it's also easier for people to ignore it. It's easier for people to forget about it. It's easier for them to just say, it's not for me, or to make all sorts of assumptions, whatever. So I would try to find any way to make it more individual. Literally, whether you're doing one-on-one invitations via WhatsApp or one-on-one invitations via Facebook Messenger, or whether you're calling, never underestimate the power of that grassroots growth at the very beginning.
Okay, so here's my question with that. I'm happy to do that. The question is, how do I do it in a way that doesn't come across as me being pushy, or like in a way that's uncomfortable for them?
It's all about how your energy is.
Okay.
So I would practice on yourself, or practice on a few friends in a way that, how would I not feel turned off by this invitation? Okay. So you could practice in a few ways, like, hey, Chaya, this is Miriam. We haven't had a chance to meet in person yet. I am brand new to Houston. I am working on building my local family coaching practice here. And I am, whatever the thing is that you're offering. Okay. And I was given your name by so-and-so. I want to offer you an invitation, or have you had a chance to, are these people you know or don't know?
Some of them I know, and some I don't.
Okay. Is it a local class or it's an online class?
Online.
Okay. So then I would just start asking them. I would just say, hey, have you seen the invitation? I know you're really busy. I know there's a lot going on. This is a brand new program. I'm really excited about it. Here's some of the feedback do you have testimonials already from people you've worked with?
I have testimonials, but in different spaces. Like, they're all great in totally different areas.
Okay. Are they generic enough that you can use them, or can you ask them for generic ones?
I'll take a look. I probably have some generic ones.
Okay. And I would perhaps use those testimonials so that other people can speak on your behalf instead of you having to toot your own horn.
Right.
And I think the magic part is the ask. Is that we have to, sometimes we think, because it's a coaching program or because it's something else, we feel uncomfortable asking. Well, if you were selling a phone, if you were selling a computer, if you were selling a house, you have to still ask, right? So just because what you're selling is a service or a program, it doesn't eliminate the fact that you can't expect them just to fall on your lap by sending out spam.
Right.
And effectively what you're doing right now, I'm sure it's beautiful spam, and I don't mean it in a condescending way, but it's still spam.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So basically, from what I'm gathering, is that it has to really be one-on-one connections.
Especially in the beginning.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And then just figure out, you're never going to do it if you don't feel comfortable with it.
Right.
So I would find something that you feel is a good, healthy, not a script as in oh, hi, my name is Miriam. You don't remember me, but we met, but I'm saying a general guideline, right? Like a flow, and then practice it on your parents, your husband, your friends, practice it on 5-6 people, practice it on your kids' stuffed animals. No joke. I cannot tell you the number of times I practiced presentations on stuffed animals around the table.
That's awesome.
Okay. And that's how I got good. That's how my flow came.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you don't have flow, you're stumbling over your words. If you know the words, you can focus on the people.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So that would be my recommendation to help you get started.
Thank you so much.
And the frustrating, totally annoying part is there's no beating the grind. In the beginning to get started, it's you've got to put in that effort of planting the seeds.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of flashy stuff out there online. I have never personally met anyone, not even the uber successful wealthy ones, that didn't have to put in the elbow grease to get started one by one by one by one. And then it's 2 by 2, and then it's 4 and 10 and 30. And then you start to hit the exponential growth.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Well, This has been so much fun. Thanks for spending some time with me today, Miriam. And please feel free to let me know if you have any other questions afterward. And I want to hear, and I know everybody else is going to be curious to hear now also how it's going for you. So please keep us posted, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. All right, that wraps up our second session of March Mentoring Mondays. Don't forget to comment, like, and share, and maybe you will be our next private coaching winner. Love you guys. Bye for now.